I want to talk about the process, and when you'll become. Let's talk about when you will become a professional photographer and when it's going to happen for you. Now, obviously telling you, in 7 years, you'll be able to go from amateur, having never done it, to pro is a useless bit of data, because that's just not the case. Some people, they pick it up and they just run with it. They're pro from day one. They're pro before they know the camera settings. They're pro before they know any tech, because their creativity is just that way. Other people know all the tech but just don't know what looks good. And it takes them a long time to learn that. But what I think I want to talk about here, and what I want to put forward as kind of like a concept almost, is the process. And it's loving the process. Now, in any job, there are boring aspects. When I used to work as a project manager, I remember the worst part of my job was that I had to log what it was we were doing with our time. And I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. Like, why am I logging what I'm doing with my time? Because I'm now using time to log what I'm doing with my time. It used to drive me mad. It used to drive me absolutely insane. I didn't love that job. There was lots of things. It was going to meetings that were completely pointless. It was dealing with people that just weren't going to do the job properly anyway. And it was a very pointless mindset for me. I was just like, this doesn't work. I don't love doing this. I like the outcome of when the project's signed off and it's all gone well and the bonus comes in, but this is not for me. Now, photography, on the other hand, it also has the same element of boring things. There's still the same, like, retouching. Oh, God, I hate retouching. Emails. I'm currently on about 800 unread emails. I don't like emails. But I do it. I work through it. I enjoy the process. And this is the turning point for photographers at which you go, it's going to happen. I'm going to make it as a pro. I'm going to get there. When you love the process of doing the boring things, when you love the process of learning, when you love the process of going, I need to up my game, my work is not good enough. Every month I look at my work and go, it's not good enough. I need to get better. I must get better. And I love the process of getting better. I love the process of working out what it is I need to do to get better. I love the process of getting better, the actual act of doing the test shoots, the work. I do a lot of workshops online at the moment, learning about things outside of photography, actually. But learning those things, it's the process that I enjoy to do. Likewise, one of the reasons I'm enjoying doing the YouTube channel is because I love the process of editing. I love editing. I love the edit. Not so much these ones here, because these are obviously just cut and paste. But the vlogs and the more long form videos, I enjoy doing the little witty cuts and all the rest of it. The process is good. You know, the whole coming up with ideas for YouTube videos, I enjoy that process. And that's an important thing to sort of start this video with. Photography is a hard profession. It is not for everyone. There's a saying that many choose photography, but photography chooses few. Not sure that's the exact saying, but that's the gist of it. And it is so true. So many people think that photography is their calling, but it turns out they just don't love the process. When things are going wrong, when money is scarce, when ideas are bad, when you've had 2 clients complain that they hate your work, you've had 3 clients say, oh, actually, we don't want to do this job anymore, it's cancelled, and you've had 7 rejection letters whilst you're trying to get a new agent, and you know your rent's due and your money's going out but nothing's coming in, and you have to be able to just love the process, because there are some dark days in photography getting set up to a point where you're stable and things are just running nicely. There are some really hard days in there. I've had years at the start where I just thought, this just isn't going to work. But it has to, because I don't want to do anything else. There's nothing else I'd like to do with my time. There's nothing else I could do. This is what I'm going to do, so it has to work. And that love of the process and that love of putting the work in is what matters. And you can easily be mistaken at the start for spending hours on YouTube as loving the process. Spending hours in camera forums is loving the process. That is not loving the process. That is just entertainment. This is educational entertainment, I guess. It is not the process. Watching this is not your process. Your process is getting the work done. It's going to the workshops. It's getting the portfolio reviews from, whether it's a photographer who can give you a technical, critical review, whether it's an art buyer who can review it, whether it's a photo agent who can review it, but somebody of merit who can review your work and go, good, good, good. What on earth were you thinking? That's rubbish as well. You know, that sort of thing. It's got to have the love of the process. Now, obviously, I've just spent a reasonable amount of time saying love of the process, but it's because I think it's so important and it's so underrated, and I couldn't find anything else online which talks about this. And it is the single most important thing. It is the biggest factor towards success. Now, I always think of photography like cycling. I used to be a cyclist. I used to race bikes. I am the same age as Geraint Thomas and Mark Cavendish and Dan Martin, for those who are into cycling. So Geraint Thomas, Mark Cavendish, Dan Martin, very talented young cyclists. They were good as juniors when I was racing with them. Other cyclists, though, who were not so good and not as good as I was, still became pros. I didn't love the process. I didn't live for I love cycling as a sport, but I didn't live for cycling as an athlete. And I dropped out. These people loved the process. Now, they were not at the starting point as good as me. They weren't as good as the top guys either, but they were, they were good. And all they did was they persevered. They kept doing it. They loved the process. Some of them went on to ride the Tour de France. Some of them went on to ride for pro teams, but not at that level, but still made a living from doing what they loved because they loved the process. So even if you're at a point now where you think, yeah, my work is not that good, I'm not naturally gifted at creativity, I'm not naturally gifted at the technical side, whatever it may be, keep doing it, because there is a living to be made if you just love the process and keep working away at it. And I thoroughly believe that. I'm also a firm believer that you can't be the best in the world if genetically you're not there. I think in sport, sport is very much genetics defined. If you look at, say, cycling, for example, someone like Geraint Thomas and then someone like me, and you measure all of our stats without training, he has something I don't. But even if we both had the same things, I didn't work as hard as him. So there's that as well. But in photography, I do believe some people are naturally, whether it's genetically, whether it's through their upbringing or through whatever it may be, but they're naturally more gifted than others. Now, I believe also that someone who's not naturally gifted can outdo these people if they outwork them, but if the two of them work as hard as each other, then that naturally gifted person will get to the top. And that's a cruel, hard fact of life, and it is not nice to accept it. When I was a kid at sports day, they'd be like, if you try hard, you can be good. I'm never going to be a 100-meter sprinter, no matter how much training I do. I'm never going to be a marathon runner because I'm too short and stocky. It's just not an option. Now, photographically, it's not quite the same, but some people certainly see the world in a way that I can't. My youngest brother's an artist and he sees the world in a way that I don't. My middle brother's a mathematician. He sees the world in a way that I can't. And I work as a photographer and I see the world in a way that they can't. And we all have these different build-ups of who we are, whether it's through how we were raised, genetic abilities. Like, it's not by chance that geniuses give birth to geniuses. Like, there's this thing called the bell-shaped curve. It's worth looking into if you're not familiar with it, but it's Anderson and Darling came up with it, and it's how you plot a graph of a population or a sample population to make sure you've got a good representation. And then you've got the edges, skewness and kurtosis, where you can see the elite end of any population graph. No matter what you're plotting, there is an elite and a below elite and then the average. And that's, I don't know why, it's a mathematical phenomena, but that is what it is. And it is the same in photography. There's loads of people in the middle. There's a few people at the far end who are exceptional, and there's some at the other far end who are just, you just go, how did you do that so badly? And that's where we are, I guess. That's how it is. But yeah, that for me is the process. That is what makes a professional photographer. Now, where do I sit in this? I'm sure you're thinking, what do I think of myself? Where am I in this? I don't know. I don't think I'm genetically or what's the word for the way that you're nurtured? Nurtured in a way to be creative. I don't think I have that element, but I definitely have work ethic. I definitely outwork a lot of people, which is why at 10:15 on a Sunday, we're in the studio, because this is my side hustle. And Sunday side hustle is becoming a bit of a norm. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope it's been of interest to you. This is just my thoughts on something I couldn't find anything on. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to make a video on them in the future. See you all soon. Bye-bye.